Maya was a simple woman who lived in a small town. She was quiet, soft-spoken, and always kept to herself. People in the town often saw her walking slowly down the street or sitting by the river, watching the water flow. She never complained, but everyone noticed the long scars on her arms. The scars were pale and stretched like lines on an old tree. Some people whispered behind her back. "Why does she have those marks? What happened to her?" They didn't say these things kindly. Children would sometimes stare at her and ask their parents why she looked different. Even some adults laughed at her in small groups, not knowing what the scars meant. Maya knew they were curious, and sometimes it made her sad. But she had learned to hide her feelings behind a small smile. The scars were a part of her story, but she did not want to talk about them. They reminded her of a time she wished to forget. She worked at the town's small cafe, where she cleaned tables and washed dishes. The cafe was a simple place, with old wooden chairs and soft music playing in the background. Maya liked the quietness of the cafe. The owner, Mrs. Patel, was kind, and never judged her. She gave Maya a chance when no one else did. One afternoon, a group of people entered the cafe. They wore jackets with patches and badges. Maya noticed one patch in particular, a dark circle with a symbol inside. She felt a strange feeling in her chest, but she didn't understand why. The group sat near the window and talked quietly. Maya watched them as she cleaned the tables. One man had a strong voice, and he laughed loudly. He looked around the room, his eyes stopping on Maya's arms for a moment. "Look at her scars," someone whispered. "Do you think she's one of us?" The others laughed again. Maya felt her face grow hot. She kept working, pretending not to hear them. But inside, she felt something she had not felt in a long time, pain mixed with hope. The man with the strong voice came over when the cafe was less busy. He smiled kindly, but his eyes were serious. "Hi," he said. "My name is Raj. I couldn't help but notice your scars. If you don't mind me asking, what's your story?" Maya looked at him carefully. Most people avoided her or laughed, but Raj seemed different. There was no judgment in his voice, only respect. "My story is long," Maya said softly. "But it's not easy to tell." Raj nodded. "I understand. I'm a veteran. I've seen things that changed me. Sometimes scars tell stories that words cannot." Maya's heart beat faster. She had never met anyone who talked about scars like that. Raj smiled again. "If you ever want to talk, I'm here." After that day, Maya thought about Raj's words. For the first time, she felt a small hope that maybe, just maybe, someone could understand her pain. One evening, Maya sat by the river, the place she liked most. The sky was pink and orange, and the water shined like glass. She touched her scars gently. Years ago, when she was young, something happened that left deep marks on her skin and soul. She had survived, but the memory was heavy. People did not understand what she had been through. They only saw the scars and judged her. Maya wished she could tell her story without fear. But the world was not always kind to those who were different. Suddenly, she felt a shadow behind her. It was Raj. He sat down quietly beside her. "Sometimes," Raj said, "the hardest battles are the ones we fight inside ourselves." Maya looked at him and nodded. She felt like she had found a friend who saw her not as a woman with scars, but as someone brave. That night, Maya slept with a new feeling in her heart. Maybe she was not alone after all. The next morning, Maya woke up feeling lighter than she had in years. The small cafe was quiet when she arrived, and she started her work as usual. But in her mind, her thoughts kept returning to Raj and the strange feeling she had when she saw the patch on his jacket. The group had returned to the cafe that afternoon. This time, Maya was braver. When Raj came to take her order, she looked straight into his eyes. "Raj," she said softly, "what does your patch mean?" "The one on your jacket." Raj's eyes lit up with surprise, then he smiled gently. "That," he said, "is a symbol of the unit I served with. It's called the Iron Wolves. We were a group of soldiers who went through many hard times together. The tattoo many of us have is the same symbol. It reminds us of the strength we share, even after everything we've been through." Maya's heart beat faster. She looked at the patch again. The dark circle with a wolf inside seemed powerful, almost alive. "Do you have the tattoo?" she asked, curious. Raj lifted his sleeve slowly, revealing a tattoo on his arm. It was the same symbol, an iron wolf inside a circle. Maya reached out hesitantly to touch it. The lines were sharp and clear, telling a story of pain and courage. "I wish I had a tattoo like that," Maya said quietly. "It feels like a story, something to be proud of." Raj looked at her with respect. "You have a story, Maya. One that no tattoo can tell. And your scars, they show you survived. That's more powerful than any ink on skin." Maya felt tears in her eyes, but she smiled. For the first time, she felt her scars were not just marks of pain, they were signs of strength. Days passed, and Maya found herself talking more with Raj and the group. They were veterans who had come back from a difficult place, trying to find peace. They laughed, shared stories, and sometimes, sat quietly, remembering. One evening, Raj invited Maya to a small gathering at the town hall. It was a meeting of veterans and people who wanted to help them. Maya hesitated but agreed. She wanted to know more about these people who understood pain and courage. At the hall, Maya saw many men and women with tattoos, scars, and stories written in their eyes. They welcomed her warmly, without judgment. Raj introduced her to an older man named Sam. "Sam was with the Iron Wolves too," Raj said. "He's like a father to us." Sam smiled at Maya and shook her hand gently. "We all carry wounds, Maya," he said softly. "Some are on the skin, some are inside. But here, we are family." Maya looked around the room and felt a warmth she had never known. Later, as people shared their stories, Maya wanted to speak. But fear stopped her. Raj noticed and gave her a small, encouraging smile. "You don't have to talk if you're not ready," he said. "Just listen." Maya nodded and listened. She heard stories of loss, hope, and survival. Each story was different but connected by a common thread: strength. As the night ended, Raj took Maya aside. "There is one thing I want to show you," he said quietly. He led her to a small room filled with photos and items from their time in service. On a table lay a worn notebook. Raj opened it carefully. "This is where we keep memories," he said. "Names of friends, places we went, battles we fought." Maya saw a photo of a group of soldiers, smiling despite the dust and sweat. One of them had a scar on his cheek that looked like a lightning bolt. "Who is that?" Maya asked. "That's me," Raj said softly. "And these scars," he showed his arm, "tell stories just like yours." Maya touched her own scars and whispered, "Maybe our scars are our real tattoos." Raj nodded. "Exactly. And one day, you might want to tell your story. Until then, know that you are not alone. That night, Maya returned home with a heart full of questions and hope. She sat by her window, looking at the stars. For years, she had hidden her scars, feeling ashamed and alone. But now, she understood something new: scars were not something to hide. They were proof of life, courage, and survival. Maya's story was not over. It was just beginning. Days passed after the meeting at the town hall, but Maya's mind was full of new thoughts. She kept thinking about Raj and the veterans. They seemed different from the people in her town who whispered or laughed. These people had scars, too visible and invisible, but they carried them with pride. It was a kind of quiet strength Maya had never seen before. At the cafe, Maya worked as usual. The same customers came and went, but she no longer felt as lonely. Raj and his friends had become a small part of her life. They greeted her with warm smiles and shared little stories over coffee. One afternoon, Raj invited Maya to take a walk with him by the river. The sun was soft, and the breeze was cool. Maya agreed, feeling more comfortable with him each day. As they walked, Raj asked, "Maya, do you want to tell me about your scars?" "Only if you want to." Maya stopped and looked at the water flowing gently. "It's hard to talk about," she said softly. "But maybe it's time." She took a deep breath and began. "When I was younger, I lived in a home that was not safe. People I trusted hurt me, and those scars, they are reminders of those times. I ran away when I could, but the pain stayed." Raj listened carefully, his eyes never leaving her face. "Many people don't understand," Maya continued. "They see the scars and judge me. They think I am weak or strange. But I survived." Raj nodded. "You are strong, Maya. It takes courage to survive and keep going." Maya looked down at her hands. "For years, I hid my scars. I was afraid of being laughed at or rejected. But meeting you and your friends made me realize something. Strength is not about hiding pain. It's about facing it." Raj smiled gently. "That is true. Every scar tells a story of courage." They walked in silence for a while, listening to the sounds of the river. Later, Raj stopped and said, "I want to show you something." He led Maya to a small, quiet park near the river. There was a wooden bench with carvings on it. Raj reached into his bag and took out a small notebook. "This notebook has stories from my time with the Iron Wolves," he explained. "We wrote about our memories, our struggles, and our hopes. Would you like to read some?" Maya nodded, curious. Raj opened the notebook and began to read aloud a story about a night when they had to protect a village far from home. The story was full of fear, hope, and friendship. Maya listened, feeling the emotions in every word. When Raj finished, he looked at her. "Our scars remind us of nights like that. They remind us who we are." Maya smiled, feeling closer to Raj than ever before. Days turned into weeks. Maya found herself changing. She was still the simple woman who worked at the cafe, but inside, she felt stronger. She stopped hiding her scars. Sometimes, she even told small parts of her story to people she trusted. One afternoon, a young girl came to the cafe with her mother. The girl looked at Maya's arms and asked, "Why do you have those lines on your skin?" Maya smiled kindly. "They are stories, little one. Stories of courage and survival." The girl's eyes grew wide. "Like a superhero?" Maya laughed softly. "Yes, like a superhero." Word spread quietly. People in the town started to see Maya differently. Some came to the cafe just to meet the woman with the scars who smiled through pain. Raj noticed the change too. "You are inspiring people, Maya," he said one day. Maya shook her head. "I'm just trying to live." "But living with courage is inspiring," Raj insisted. One evening, Maya sat alone by the river again. This time, she didn't feel lonely. The stars shone brightly, and the cool air felt like a hug. Raj joined her after a while. He looked at her scars with respect and said, "I know it's not easy. But I'm proud of you." Maya smiled. "Thank you, Raj. For the first time, I feel like my scars are not a curse." Raj nodded. "They are a sign of your journey. And your strength." Maya looked up at the sky and whispered, "Maybe one day, I'll tell my full story. Not to hide, but to help others." Raj reached out and gently touched her hand. "Whenever you're ready, I'll be here." The night grew quiet, but Maya's heart was full. She was no longer just a simple woman with scars. She was a survivor, a warrior in her own right. And her story was only just beginning. The days grew warmer as summer moved closer, but Maya's heart felt something cooler, a shadow from the past she had tried to forget. Her friendship with Raj had become a light in her life, but sometimes the memories behind her scars whispered loudly in the quiet moments. One morning, as Maya opened the cafe, a cold wind blew through the door. A man stood outside, looking at her with tired eyes. He wore a jacket that looked worn and old, and his face carried a sadness that made Maya's chest tighten. "Can I help you?" Maya asked quietly. The man's voice was soft but steady. "I'm looking for Maya. I heard she works here." Maya's hands trembled for a moment, but she stayed calm. "Yes, that's me." "Who are you?" "My name is Arjun," he said. "I knew your family a long time ago. I wanted to talk." Maya's heart beat fast. The past she had tried to leave behind was suddenly at her doorstep. Raj arrived just then and noticed the man. His eyes narrowed slightly, but he didn't say anything. Instead, he walked over to Maya and stood beside her. "Arjun," Raj said, his voice steady, "what brings you here?" Arjun looked at Raj and nodded slightly, understanding the unspoken question. "I came to make things right. I was part of the trouble in Maya's past. I want to say I'm sorry." Maya felt a mix of emotions: fear, anger, sadness. She looked at Arjun and then at Raj, who gave her a small, reassuring smile. "Why now?" Maya asked softly. "Why after all these years?" Arjun swallowed hard. "I was young and lost. I made mistakes. I didn't know how to be better. But I've changed, and I want to help if I can." Maya looked down at her hands. The scars she carried were not just skin deep, they were memories of pain and struggle. Could she trust this man? Raj stepped forward. "Maya, you don't have to decide now. We're here for you." Arjun nodded, understanding. "I'm not here to force anything. I just want to be honest." Days went by, and Maya found herself thinking about Arjun's visit. Her life with Raj and the veterans had shown her a new way to face pain with courage and support. But the past was not so easy to leave behind. One evening, Maya sat by the river with Raj. The sky was full of stars, and the water reflected their light. "Raj," Maya said quietly, "I don't know if I'm ready to forgive him. But maybe I can try to understand." Raj nodded. "Forgiveness is not for him. It's for you. To free your heart. Maya smiled faintly. I want to be free. Raj reached out and held her hand gently. You are already stronger than you know. The next day, Maya decided to visit Arjun. They met at a small park, surrounded by tall trees and soft grass. Arjun looked nervous but hopeful. I don't expect forgiveness right away. I just want to show I'm different now. Maya listened as Arjun talked about his journey, how he had struggled, made mistakes, and worked hard to become a better person. Slowly, something inside Maya began to heal. She realized that people, like scars, could change. They could carry their past but choose a new path. Meanwhile, Raj and the veterans continued to support Maya. They shared their own stories of pain and healing, showing her that no one's path was perfect, but it could still be hopeful. One afternoon, Maya stood in front of a small group in the town hall. She was invited to speak about courage and survival. Her hands shook as she looked at the faces watching her, but she remembered Raj's words. I have scars, she began, not just on my skin, but in my heart. They remind me of hard times, but they also remind me that I survived. I am here today because of courage and because I am not alone. The room was silent. Then, slowly, people began to clap. Some wiped tears from their eyes. After the speech, many came to talk to Maya, thanking her for her honesty. For the first time, Maya felt truly seen, not for her scars, but for her strength. That night, as she sat by the river with Raj, Maya whispered, maybe my story is not just about pain. Maybe it's about hope. Raj smiled. It is, Maya. And you're helping others find hope too. Maya looked at the stars again, feeling the weight of the past lifting. The road ahead was still long, but she was ready to walk it with courage, with friends, and with a heart open to healing. After the speech at the town hall, Maya felt different. For the first time, she believed that people could see her for who she truly was. But deep inside, a quiet question remained: could she ever truly be free from her past? Raj noticed the change in Maya. She smiled more, held her head higher, and even started talking about her scars in small moments. But he also saw the nights when she sat alone, staring at the stars, lost in thought. One afternoon, Raj invited Maya to a special place, a small art studio on the edge of town. The walls were covered with paintings and drawings, and the smell of paint filled the air. This is where I come to find peace, Raj said softly. Maya looked around, feeling calm in the quiet space. On a table was a simple chair and a small box filled with tattoo tools. Raj noticed her gaze. I want to show you something important. He rolled up his sleeve again, revealing his iron wolf's tattoo, the dark circle with a wolf inside. The ink was sharp and clear, telling stories of battles, friendship, and survival. Getting this tattoo was not easy, Raj said. It reminds me of who I am and what I've been through. Maya touched her scars gently. I wish I had a tattoo like that. Something to remind me I am strong. Raj smiled. Your scars already tell that story. But Maya shook her head. I want to show the world that I am proud. Not just hide my past. Raj looked thoughtful. Maybe it's time for you to have your own symbol. Maya's heart beat fast. The idea of getting a tattoo scared her. What if people laughed again? What if she wasn't ready? Raj saw the worry in her eyes. I'll be with you every step of the way. Over the next days, Maya thought a lot about the tattoo. She talked with Raj and the veterans, who shared stories about their tattoos and what each symbol meant. One evening, Maya went to the art studio again. The artist, a quiet woman named Mira, greeted her warmly. "Do you know what you want?" Mira asked kindly. Maya looked at her scars and then at the tattoo on Raj's arm. "I want something that shows my story, my strength and hope," Maya said softly. Mira smiled. "We'll design something together." They worked late into the night, drawing shapes and symbols that felt right to Maya: a small flame for hope, a circle for life, and a wolf for courage. When the design was ready, Maya took a deep breath. She sat in the chair, feeling both nervous and brave. Raj stayed close by, holding her hand gently. The first touch of the needle was sharp, but Maya stayed calm. With every moment, she felt stronger, like she was reclaiming her story, not hiding from it. When the tattoo was finished, Maya looked at her arm. The new symbol was simple but powerful. It told a story of pain, survival, and hope. For the first time, Maya smiled with pride at her scars and her new tattoo. The next day, Maya returned to the cafe with her sleeve rolled up. When Raj and the others saw the tattoo, their faces lit up. "You did it," Raj said proudly. Maya laughed softly. "I did it for me." Word spread quickly in the town. Some people were surprised, some curious, but many were inspired. A young woman came to the cafe and said, "I want to be brave like you." Maya smiled and said, "Everyone has a story. Courage is finding your own way to tell it." As the weeks passed, Maya's life changed. The scars on her skin were still there, but now they were part of a larger story, a story she chose to share, not hide. One afternoon, Raj and Maya sat by the river. The sun was warm, and the water sparkled. "Maya," Raj said, "you've come so far. I'm proud of you." Maya looked at her tattoo and then at Raj. "Thank you for believing in me." Raj smiled. "We all need someone who believes in us." Maya took a deep breath, feeling peace she had never known. Her past was still there, but it no longer held power over her. She was no longer just the woman with scars. She was Maya, the woman who faced her fears, found her voice, and wore her story proudly. And this was only the beginning. The days were growing shorter, but Maya felt something inside her growing stronger: hope. Since getting the tattoo, she walked a little taller, smiled more easily, and spoke more openly about her past. The cafe, once a place she worked quietly and alone, now felt warm and alive with friendships. Raj and the veterans became more than just friends, they were like a family. They shared their own stories, their struggles, and their victories. Maya learned that healing was not a straight road, it twisted and turned, but it was worth the journey. One chilly afternoon, Raj invited Maya to join the veterans at a nearby community center. They were planning a small event to help others who had been through hard times. "Will you come?" Raj asked, hope in his voice. Maya nodded. "I want to." At the center, Maya saw many faces, men and women with scars, tattoos, and stories. Some were shy, others brave, but all were looking for light after darkness. The event was simple. People shared stories, sang songs, and helped each other find strength. Maya listened carefully. Every story was different, but they all had one thing in common: courage. When it was Maya's turn, she stood in front of the small crowd. Her heart beat fast, but she remembered her journey. "I used to hide," she began. "I was scared people would laugh at my scars. But now, I know my scars are not a weakness. They are proof I survived. They are part of my story." People smiled, some nodded, and a few wiped tears. Maya felt a warm glow inside. After the event, a woman came to Maya and said, "Thank you. You gave me hope to face my own fears." Maya smiled. "We are stronger together." That night, Maya walked home with Raj. The stars were bright, and the air was crisp. "Maya," Raj said softly, "your courage helps more people than you know." Maya looked at him and said, "And your friendship has helped me find my own courage." They walked quietly until Raj stopped by the river. "Do you ever feel afraid?" Maya asked. Raj nodded. "Every day. But I've learned fear is not the end. It's the start of courage." Maya smiled. "I want to keep learning." Raj looked at her with kind eyes. "We can learn together." In the days that followed, Maya found herself opening up more. She started helping others who were afraid to speak. She listened to their stories and shared her own. One afternoon, a young man named Ramesh came to the cafe. He looked nervous and uncertain. "Can I talk to you?" he asked. Maya nodded. "Of course." Ramesh told her about his struggles with feeling alone and scared because of his past. Maya listened, remembering how she had felt the same way. "You are not alone," she said kindly. "It's okay to be scared, but don't let fear stop you from living." Ramesh smiled, a small light shining in his eyes. Maya realized that helping others healed her too. Her scars, her tattoo, and her story were no longer just about pain, they were about hope and strength. One evening, as Maya sat with Raj and the veterans around a small fire, she felt peace. They laughed, shared food, and spoke quietly about dreams and the future. Raj looked at Maya and said, "You have come so far. I am proud of you." Maya felt tears rise, but they were tears of joy. "Thank you, Raj, for standing by me." Raj smiled. "We all need someone to stand by us." The fire crackled, and the night wrapped around them like a warm blanket. Maya knew the road ahead would still have challenges, but she was ready. She was no longer alone. She was healing. She was living. The seasons changed, and the small town around Maya began to feel different too. People who once whispered behind her back now smiled openly. Maya's courage had quietly opened a door for others to be kinder, to understand, and to heal. Maya stood by the window of the cafe early one morning, watching the sunlight touch the trees. She thought about her journey, the long road from pain to hope. The scars on her arms no longer felt like a secret or a shame. They were a part of her story, and she was proud of every mark. Raj walked in, carrying 2 cups of tea. He smiled warmly at Maya. "Good morning." "Good morning," Maya replied, her smile bright. They sat together by the window. Outside, the town was waking up, children laughing, neighbors greeting each other, life moving forward. "Maya," Raj said softly, "do you remember the first time we met?" Maya nodded. "Yes. You saw my scars and didn't turn away." Raj laughed quietly. "I didn't just see scars. I saw strength." Maya looked at her arms and then back at Raj. "I was scared then. I thought people would only see the pain." "Sometimes, people do," Raj said. "But those who matter see beyond. You showed them how." That day, Maya decided to take another step. She wanted to give back to the town that had slowly become her home. With Raj's help, she started a small group at the community center, a place where anyone with scars, visible or hidden, could come to share their stories, find support, and build courage. The group met every week. Slowly, more people came, young and old, men and women, all carrying stories of struggle and survival. One day, a woman named Anjali came forward. She was quiet at first, but with Maya's gentle encouragement, she shared her story of loss and healing. The room was silent, but full of understanding. After the meeting, Anjali approached Maya. "Thank you," she said, tears shining in her eyes. "You helped me find my voice." Maya smiled. "We all have a voice. Sometimes, we just need someone to listen." Raj watched from the back, pride shining in his eyes. Maya's life was no longer defined by her scars alone. It was about hope, courage, and connection. One evening, Raj and Maya walked by the river again, the same place where their friendship had grown. The stars sparkled above, and the gentle sound of water filled the air. "Maya," Raj said, "you have changed this town. You have changed me." Maya reached out and took his hand. "We changed each other." They sat quietly for a moment, feeling the peace that comes after the storm. Maya thought about her past, the pain, the scars, the loneliness. And she realized something beautiful: those dark days had shaped her, but they did not define her future. She was ready to live fully, to love, and to inspire. The next morning, Maya opened the cafe's door with a new sense of purpose. People came in with smiles and stories. The small town was slowly healing, one story at a time. Maya's scars, once laughed at, were now badges of strength. Her tattoo glowed softly in the sunlight, a symbol of courage and new beginnings. And as she served coffee, shared laughter, and listened to the stories around her, Maya knew this was only the beginning. Her life was a story of hope. A story of healing. A story of a simple woman who found strength in her scars and changed a town forever.